The other nutrients I like to take is K2.
Yes.
So K2 is more of a, funnily enough, going back to the Weston A. Price book, he used to go on about it in these traditional remote tribe civilizations where their health was incredible. They didn't have any of the modern metabolic diseases that we have, really super healthy. And he called this thing, because he couldn't quite figure out what it was, but he knew there was some special nutrients in certain foods. He called it Activator X.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And he said you got to have, and it was in things like really good grass-fed butter and certain kind of nutrients like that, or
really
certain foods.
Is it really high in fermented foods as well?
It can be. So, for instance,
It's like another thing that we don't eat a lot of. In American culture, at least.
So in Japan, there was this really interesting anomaly where everybody in East Japan was much healthier than in West Japan. And largely speaking, they were all very similar. So what was going on? But in a cultural way, everyone in East Japan used to eat natto, which was like a fermented soy, which was super high in K2, which was interesting. So, and that was, again, much, much lower levels in terms of cardiovascular disease and all these things. So K2 is really good, in particular for getting calcium into the cells where it's meant to be. So calcium is notoriously difficult to break down. And the things that you need are we know about vitamin D, D3 in particular, which is going to be next on the list.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
So that's really good for helping you absorb calcium. But K2 in particular, it's almost like the control center that makes sure it goes to where it needs to be. So again, very good for overall metabolic health. And
because we don't want calcium sitting in our arteries.
We definitely don't want it sitting there or getting into our joints or anything like that. So yeah, super, super important. So K2, phenomenal for that. And great for all around, again, very good for health. So yeah, the K2, magnesium, and then the D3, they're all the ones that I kind of will sort of group together for incredible metabolic health.
Do you pair your K2 with D3? I know a lot of supplements are sold like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't, because so it just depends on what you're taking all around. But I like to take cod liver oil. And that has vitamin A and D, and they seem to work together, and you need the right ratio. So if you just increase D without the A or whatever, so it's good to kind of take them both. So I do like to take it in the cod liver oil form. But then there's also my other supplement that I love to take is a supplement called megaquinone, and that has K2, magnesium, and zinc all in the one. Which is really cool. So the 3 of my top 5 is all in the one supplement.
Interesting.
And that's a really neat one to take. So if I'm taking that, then I don't need to take the magnesium powder. I don't need to take a separate zinc, and so on.